UFC 202 lived up to its billing Saturday night, as Conor McGregor earned a decision over Nate Diaz in the main event while the four other fights on the main card ended in finishes. Aside from a multitude of great fights, the decision outcomes at UFC 202 paved the way for some even better matchups to be made down the line. Check out 5 fights we think the UFC should put together for some of the big winners from Saturday night. Conor McGregor vs Nate Diaz 3 UFC 202 lived up to its billing Saturday night, as Conor McGregor earned a decision over Nate Diaz in the main event while the four other fights on the main card ended in finishes. Aside from a multitude of great fights, the decision outcomes at UFC 202 paved the way for some even better matchups to be made down the line. Check out 5 fights we think the UFC should put together for some of the big winners from Saturday night. Conor McGregor vs Nate Diaz 3 Cormier survives Johnson's powerful punches the first time around, but after Rumble's consecutive chin-checking exhibitions against Glover-type Sarah, Ryan Bader and Jimmy Manuwa, I wouldn't dare pick against him. Not with my name in the byline. Nope. Eddie Alvarez vs Donald Cerrone 2 Eddie Alvarez had his eyes on the winner of the UFC 202 main event between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, but it looks like someone else had their eyes on him. Lightweight contender and welterweight killer Donald Cerrone said over and over again in the lead up to UFC 202 that he wanted to return to 155 pounds to face Alvarez next. And now that he's taken down his third straight welterweight opponent, he deserved a shot at the strap. Cowboy handed Alvarez a loss in his UFC debut, so this is probably the fight that piques both their interest. Robbie Lawler vs Lawrence Larkin to Yale. I said it, former champion and number 1 ranked welterweight Robbie Lawler. Larkin has won 4 of his last 5 fights since dropping to welterweight, 3 of which have come by way of knockout, including his first-round shellacking of 7th-ranked 170-pound fighter Neil Magny on Saturday night at UFC 202. Aside from that, Larkin has a unanimous decision win over Lawler from their 2012 fight under the Strikeforce banner that Ruthless may want to avenge. Larkin was unranked at welterweight before UFC 202, so there's no telling where voters will place him in the rankings, but no doubt he should land in the top 10. His recent success coupled with his history with Lawler makes for an interesting fight at 170 pounds. Dominick Cruz vs Cody Garbrandt. The UFC bantamweight division just got a bit more interesting as heavy-handed Cody Garbrandt all but guaranteed himself a shot at Dominick Cruz with his performance at UFC 202. He became just the second man in the UFC to stop Takeya Mizugaki with punches. Cruz is the other, and made sure to call Cruz out in his Octagon interview. Cruz, who was working the UFC on Fox desk for the event, welcomed the call-out and dished out some trash talk of his own. Cruz: I thought Garbrandt was centimeters punk. I didn't know who he was, and watched this week heard about Daniel Cormier having to break them up backstage.